there, time to bring you the latest happenings in the country and beyond right here on News Tonight on GHOne television. I am El-Nurein Abass. It's always a pleasure to do this with you. Let's begin with the headlines. Coming up this evening, National Hajj Taskforce refused claims of poor conditions of accommodation for pilgrims airlifted from Tamale to Mecca.
Office there, and if this story is credible, they will file reports to show that indeed that happened. But I don't see any need for any investigation. I'm talking about a defective air condition. What is it? Is it something I cannot?
Also coming up, Accra Central traders appeal for proper market facilities following May 20 deadline directive to check decongestion.
Mimi a single mother, mi kwankwala num. Yadi nyame sranu. Sa pavement na oma ya sankwa transudin.
So in this edition, Ghana Immigration Service warns Ghanaians and collaborators against aiding foreign beggars following arrest of over 2,000 beggars.
For some of these people, they wouldn't be just repatriated, but then we'll take them through the legal process.
In business, Finance Minister reveals plans to launch government-led cocoa plantations to boost national output and address inefficiencies. And on the international front, Ukraine and Russia far apart in first direct talks, but prisoner swap agreed. We've got details of all these stories and others coming up. Please don't go away. Many thanks to you for choosing News Tonight. Now, the National Hajj Task Force has categorically and emphatically refuted claims of poor conditions of close to 3,000 pilgrims airlifted to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia so far. A pilgrim by the name Hashim took to social media to complain about the dysfunctional air conditioners and elevators where Ghanaian pilgrims are housed. However, addressing the media at the Hajj village, chairman of the board, Alhaji Collins Dauda, questioned the veracity of the claims of the pilgrim.
Whether you have spoken to the person who did the story, and the place was quiet. So asking questions is the beginning of investigations. And I expect journalists to not look at one side, but to look at this side and that side. If you had engaged the person who did it, you would have asked the questions you are asking me. You would have gotten your answers. Then you will make a firm determination whether the story is a true reflection or not. Very good. I have also indicated that Ghana has an office there, and that if this story is credible, they will file reports to show that indeed that happened. But I don't see any need for any investigation. I'm talking about a defective air condition. What is it? Is it something I cannot be fixed? Why must I spend money and then waste time on these matters? What is important for me is that we'll all be going to Saudi Arabia to perform the Hajj. We'll be with them, we'll sleep with them, we'll eat their meals with them. If it is good, we'll know. If it is bad, we'll know. Thank you. And then just to add up, I'm sure as
Meanwhile, some pilgrims lodging at the Hajj village in Accra are bemoaning an alleged poor conditions of service offered by the Pilgrim Affairs Office of Ghana. According to an aggrieved applicant, Hashim, he has had to endure worse conditions of service, ranging from sharing a single bathroom with several others, as well as reports of an ill-ventilated room. Hashim noted pilgrims are given food that are substandard. Now let's get to the crux of this and speak to Deputy Communications Officer of the Hajj Task Force, Abdul Momin. Good evening to you. Welcome to News Tonight.
Good evening, sir. And how are you too?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Now, this is what the pilgrims are saying. Has this come to your attention?
Yeah, so first of all, like you indicated, my name is Alhaji Abubakar Abdul Mumin. First of all, good evening to you and good evening to all the listeners across the world. Yeah, we got this information and on social media, which is not the right way. It's not the truth, and it can never be the truth. I'm saying this because we have made all provisions for those people from Ghana here who are going to perform the Hajj. So there's no truth in whatever the gentleman is talking about.
Administration took over. I'm asking this because this is the first Hajj since this administration took over. Have you put in place any measures or initiatives to ensure that there's a better experience for these pilgrims?
Yeah, first of all, like I was telling you, in the history of Ghana, this is the first time the Taskforce organized food from Ghana here to Mecca. As we sit here, they prepare food from Ghana to them. We have even sent cookers. We have sent chefs to cook for our pilgrimage in Ghana. So I don't see what the person is talking about. And even if you want, I can tell you all the hotels we have rented for them. In fact, some of these hotels that we have rented are very close to where we perform the pilgrimage. So you can understand in this world, there's nothing you can do 100%, you understand. But to the best of my knowledge, we have done more than expectation. Before they were elected to do the Hajj, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama gave each one of them a bag free. And then that cloth we used to tie to perform the Hajj, also free. So what is the person talking about?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, if he has any issue, he should tender in evidence for everybody to see. Not to be on social media talking, talking anyhow. I don't just understand what he's talking about. That person called Nash or what, I don't know what the person is talking about. So what he is saying is absolutely incorrect, and his statement is just, he's bringing about this statement to tarnish the image of the Hajj and the government, which is not accurate.
Do you suspect any form of mischief, or do you think that this is somewhat politically motivated?
Yes, I don't say that it's mischief. I can tell you, everybody who left here to Mecca, they are excited. Everybody is happy. We have done everything possible to make each one of them comfort in the Hajj. And like I was telling you, we airlifted bunch of yams. Beans, every Ghanaian disease here has been airlifted to Mecca.
Finally, we understand that one person has lost their life. How true is this?
Yeah, so like you were saying, if one person has lost their life, the people of they will report it nationwide to everybody here in this world, including your outfit. Usually, even if one single soul is lost in the city of Mecca or Medina, it is published across the world.
Well, thank you very much.
Though death is normal, it occurs every year from the inception of the Hajj, but usually they have existing protocols towards giving information regarding the death or whatever in the city of Mecca.
Well, thank you very much. You heard the Deputy Communications Officer of the Hajj Taskforce in the person of Abdul Mumin. Let's bring you more stories this evening. The Ghana Immigration Service has warned Ghanaians and collaborators aiding foreign beggars, calling it a growing security threat. In a recent swoop across Accra, over 2,200 foreign beggars were arrested, including adults and children from 11 locations. At a press briefing, Chief Superintendent Michael Amwakwata said buses are ready to repatriate the individuals to their home countries. My colleague Obed King Aglo was there and reports.
The swoop conducted on Friday morning targeted several key locations, including the Kotoka International Airports, Madina, Kanishi, Kwame Nkrumah Interchange, and Abosokain. According to the Ghana Immigration Service, the operation forms part of a broader nationwide initiative aimed at decongesting urban centers, averting national security threats, and addressing the exploitation of children. It also seeks to identify and repatriate individuals residing in the country illegally, particularly those suspected of being trafficked or involved in organized begging networks. Chief Superintendent Michael Amwakwata is the head of public affairs at the Ghana Immigration Service.
An operation that had been sanctioned by the Comptroller General of the service to raid the streets of Accra of foreign beggars and also to disrupt networks of criminal elements, and then also to repatriate all undocumented beggars in collaboration with their respective embassies in the country. And then we are to ensure that this operation is conducted in a very humane way.
According to Head of Public Affairs of the Ghana Immigration Service, by midday, a total of 2,241 illegal migrants had been arrested.
We've arrested 2,241 foreign nationals, made up of the following: 384 male adults, then 577 male children, 525 female adults, and then 755 female children. All these persons are currently undergoing profiling.
Superintendent Amwakwata also warned Ghanaians who are assisting these illegal migrants to be on guard.
It's not just begging, but then people have turned into businesses. So they can go out there to neighboring countries where these vulnerable ones are there and easily bring them in and then push them on the streets. Then they sit at corner somewhere, and as and when their pockets are full, they go and empty it into the coffers of these facilitators. So we know all that. I'm saying that for some of these people, they wouldn't be just repatriated, but then we'll take them through the legal process.
Meanwhile, some Ghanaians have expressed support for the initiative, describing it as timely and necessary given the growing concern over child streetism and associated social problems.
I supported the government's deportation move. Many immigrants, especially women and children, live in poor conditions. I urge the government to strengthen border control to prevent illegal entry.
These are our brothers and sisters, but the way they treat the streets like their home is really bad. It makes our religion look bad. I do not understand how someone can leave their country just to beg here. We have worsened the sanitation problem in the capital.
According to the Ghana Immigration Service, the detainees will be repatriated to their respective countries after undergoing medical screening and profiling. Obed Ken Gaglo for GHOne News.
Well, now, joining us on the phone is security analyst Adib Sani for a conversation on this about the security implications. Good evening to you, Adib Sani. Welcome to News Tonight on GHOne TV.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. So, this is what they are saying. I want to ask from you as a security expert, what do the influx of these beggars in the capital say about our borders?
Porous. Extremely porous. And this is something we have been talking about for years on end. The need for us to work assiduously with both local and international partners to improve border security in the country. So this is a product of the porous nature of our borders. That is why it is imperative that beyond rounding them up, processing them and repatriating them, we deal with the very fundamental issue of border security. Otherwise, they might find their way back into the country. So let me congratulate the Ghana Immigration Service. They did a great job, but it doesn't have to end there. And it is also important to establish that beyond border security, there are a lot of security implications to all of this. There's an element of criminal networks taking advantage of the vulnerable, bringing them in and taking their commission. Those monies could be used to fund terrorist activities. There are elements of child exploitation, human trafficking, sexual exploitation as well. There are elements of drug trafficking, because in the past we do know that these street children are used as drug couriers. Okay, and so it's a cacophony of security challenges that this comes with. Okay, so that is why it is important that we go beyond just the rounding up to deal with the very fundamentals.
Are there any security risks associated with their being here, considering the fact that these countries are no more democratic ruled countries, they are now military ruled countries?
Absolutely. We never know how many of them are real beggars, how many of them are terrorists. Criminal elements can take advantage, rogue actors, I must say, mingle among these people and come in and establish sleeper cells. I'm not saying that is the case, but it is something that is possible. Secondly, it raises certain critical issues about social services, child welfare, even the safety of these children. You know, at a point I was somewhere around the traffic light, I stopped in traffic, and a child came up to me. He was about 2 years old. And believe it or not, I just broke down. I started crying on my own. Why? Because I saw my son in him. He looked just like my son, and I couldn't imagine having my child in this situation. And some of them, you know, they are so little that if you are driving a big car, you wouldn't see when he is in front of the car, and by the time you realize, you might run over him. Okay, so there are issues of safety. Like I indicated, some of these children are used for drug purposes. I mean, couriers, moving drug from one place to another. There are some of these girls too, very little girls, who are used for other purposes, like, you know, prostitution. Okay, and so it's a myriad of security issues that I think we should address, but it starts with what has happened. However, doesn't have to end there.
Now, you say it's a myriad of security issues. As a country, how can we secure our borders?
We need to be innovative. We need to also be collaborative. There's a need for us to work very closely with the local communities. You know, there are communities in Ghana, you'd go in there, they look at your face, they know you don't belong here, okay? They know themselves, they are closely knit, okay? So if the security services are able to progressively work with these communities, I'm sure it would help to a large extent. The use of drones, the need for us to collaborate with our neighbors is also key. In some cases, there are situations where terrorists would hit a town. In Burkina Faso, very close to Ghana, and in the thick of the night, 2 a.m., you have hundreds of people trooping towards the border. There's a need for proper preparedness. That is why NADMO and the Refugee Board and other, you know, relief agencies need to maintain some level of presence there, because the problem is usually when these people come in, before relief gets there, they might have even moved towards the southern part of the country. So there's no debriefing, there's no profiling, there's nothing. We just allow them to move to other parts of the country. So all of this is something that I think should be considered in enhancing border security in the country.
Well, that was security expert Adib Sani speaking to us there. Now, let me inform you that the total number of immigrants that have been identified by the Ghana Immigration Service is 2,241. And the Immigration Service says that 909 of these individuals are adults and 1,332 of them are children. They are stating that, or they have stated that they are going to take them through some health screening and then they will be repatriated to their respective countries. Now, joining us on the phone for this conversation is legal practitioner and Pan-Africanist Wayo Ganamanti. Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us on News Tonight.
Good evening to your cherished viewers.
So from a Pan-African perspective, how do you view Ghana's decision to deport these Africans, particularly vulnerable women and children who may be fleeing instability or poverty in their respective homes?
Thank you very much. And not just a Pan-Africanist, but one coming from the CPP flock. That has been our trump card. I heard your earlier speaker, security analyst, Adib Sani, talking about the borders. I don't think we need a border-tight Africa. In fact, we need borderless Africa. So a Pan-Africanist like myself would disagree with that line of argument that we need to tighten our borders. No, why are we tightening our borders? Africa must be open up for Africans. In fact, we are looking at the ECOWAS region. And these women and children are coming from Niger and Chad, which is within the ECOWAS region. And the principle is free movement of people, of goods and services. So there's something we are failing to do as governments or as state parties of these unions and these organizations. We are failing as a region, the ECOWAS region, and more or less as Africa as a continent, to do what is basic. For example, if you look at the European Union, they have not closed their borders. Somebody can just get onto a train in Brussels and land in Paris. Somebody can get onto a plane from Paris and land somewhere in Amsterdam. So this issue of borders and let's tighten borders, it is archaic and obsolete. Pan-Africanists don't agree with issues of trying to close borders. Question is, are African countries, are Africans beginning to do what is right? For instance, the CPP has a policy that state farms should be very appropriate. Because we don't have the necessary grounds for people from other countries to come in, and when they come in, what they can do is why we are having this canker on our hands. These people are seen as destitute. What it means is that they have come into Ghana, but there's no livelihood for them, that there's no job or something they can latch onto for a livelihood. Imagine they came to Ghana and we have state farms where these women, these are able-bodied women, they can go onto the state farms, go to Savannah region, where there will be a lot of farms, government of Ghana farms, share butter farms, share nut farms, corn farms, whatever, guinea fowl farms, tomato farms. They will go and work in their livelihood. The same way if Ghanaians go to Chad or go to Lagos, there should be some industrial base, there should be some agricultural base. So let's ask the pertinent questions and not try to close the border. Because you said free movement of people. So know that on the back of free movement of people, somebody will leave Niger and come here. It's not about you closing your borders. It's about what are the fundamentals and African countries must set up.
You say that it should be a borderless Africa. What about the security implications? Because mind you, these people are coming from countries where there's no democratic rule. They're coming from countries where there's military rule. Aren't you worried that there's going to be some form of, attack on the government, should I say, sort of, as has happened in their country?
My brother, I have to be frank with you as a politician and as a lawyer. I'm not worried at all. The people we are bundling and putting in the bus we see today, look at your screen. These are women and children. Are these the terrorists? Please, we are overflogging the issues. We are making moles out of mountains. Are these terrorists? The security analyst who spoke, do these children and women look like terrorists? Please, let's not overflow issues. These are people who are fleeing from hunger. They are fleeing from deprivation. They are fleeing for survival. It's a different situation if the people you are seeing on your own network this evening are able-bodied men, strong boys. Then you can talk about terrorism. You can talk about they bringing insecurity. These are poor women and children. Where lies the terrorism in these people? Yes, I agree with the phenomenon that people want to maybe take advantage of them. So they bring them, push them onto our streets, go and beg for money, and they go and empty their pocket. That's a different story. We can look at that. But this security argument that these women and children we are seeing on the screen this evening in Ghana are terrorists. do these people look like terrorists? Well, how can these women and children be terrorists? These are paupers. These are poor people. And if African countries create the environment that on the back of free movement of people, we can create the environment for people to come in and survive.
Very well, that will be it for this interview. Because of time, we'll have to end it here. You had Pan-Africanist and legal practitioner Wayo Ganamanti. You're still watching News Tonight on GHOne Television. We'll go for a quick break. We'll return soon. Welcome back from that break. This is still News Tonight on GHOne TV. Now, traders in Accra Central are appealing to government to provide proper market facilities following a directive by the mayor of Accra to remove all traders from the streets by 20th May. They say the lack of designated trading spaces has pushed many onto the pavements and roads, contributing to congestion and poor sanitation in the city. My colleague Isaac Abila visited the Accra Central Market and reports.
The mayor of Accra, Michael Alote, on May 15, 2025, issued a final warning to street traders operating along walkways and major streets in the city, urging them to vacate these areas or face forcible eviction.
That the streets are not for selling. The streets a place where cars and it's not a place that we have to engage pedestrians on the pavements, on the, now we have taken almost half of the streets. But I wait till something happens, come attack the lake of the city.
The directive, which takes effect on Tuesday, May 20, is part of the AMA's efforts to decongest the city, enhance pedestrian safety, and ensure smoother vehicular movement. However, traders have expressed their unreadiness to vacate the pavements.
Here at the Accra Central Market, it seems the traders here are not willing to comply by the directive from the mayor of Accra to evacuate the place. They are therefore appealing to the mayor to get a marketplace for them so they can evacuate. Their argument is that this place serves as a source of their daily income.
Pavement ni so dada ana omuma ye ba kwan no nti omama ya jai na yesi ebe ya ba ye yesre meyo no me yesi ngomada me kwankwala num ya de nyame sra no sa pavement na oma ya yensa nkwa tena so din nti say ni baby a betena omu si apatama ye say yen kokko tena mu enyina be kwakko tena mu efse twe ka dance no kra wo no ekoye mu yentumi meyo bana wa ban ye manakwa aba ewom say waba so bema ekromate ye panichawa ye hwemba ene esa hwe busua nto onye ne kwan se ebeboa ye ba mo mpame ye nyina enfiri wo se pavement no bebre wo ho omu ni oboafo omu an no beba betom no ma hwe omu nkola enti se mu be ye kura mu man nkofom.
Some of the pedestrians who use this walkway have shared their experience and frustrations with GHOne News.
For working on the pavement where people are selling, it really bothers us a lot, especially with the pedestrian. Yeah, because by mistake, when you hit someone selling on the pavement, by mistake, you the pedestrian, you hit someone selling on the pavement, the person will rather insult you again for you working the pavement, but why actually sell on the pavement?
Sometimes when you're passing, you just have to hit someone, and it's very awful, very bad. Yeah. So I think like they should just like it should be regulated. Yeah, some reforms should be made. And the government should do something about it for us.
Markets in Accra are getting more crowded by day. Traders have taken over pavements and roads, making it difficult for people and vehicles to move freely. The growing congestion is raising concerns about safety, sanitation, and how well the city is being managed.
For GHOne News, Abila Isaac, Azuma, Accra Central.
In more news this evening, residents and motorists within Dawenya, Afenya, Dodowa and its environs will in the coming months heave a sigh of relief as President Mahama vows to reconstruct major roads in the area after many years of neglect. The president disclosed that these roads form part of priority infrastructure projects under his government's Big Push agenda.
On road infrastructure, I'm aware of the frustrations caused by congestion in the Greater Accra region, poor maintenance of roads and incomplete road projects. Under the Big Push, rehabilitation and construction of key road corridors, including the Adenta-Dodowa Road, the La Teshi Link, the Tema Hospital Motorway Road, Apollonia to Oyibi Road, the Tema Motorway expansion which is ongoing, and other feeder roads in Ga East, Ga South, and Ningo Pram, including roads in Shai Osudoku, Adan East, and Adan West, are going to be fast-tracked under the Big Push. Additionally, we'll reconstruct the road from Dawenya to Afenya, from Afenya to Dodowa, and also from Doryumu to Dodowa, and in addition, the Ashaman to Medina Road will all be repaired under the Big Push. As a permanent fix to decongest Accra, we'll begin the design and feasibility study for a new city. Some of the government offices and agencies will be moved out of Accra to the new city. I believe that this city will be located somewhere on the Accra Plains, from Bondasi, straddling across Greater Accra, easting region and Volta regions. The city will straddle 3 regions. While government constitutionally cannot interfere in the internal matters of traditional institutions, we're deeply concerned by the impact of unresolved disputes on the development of our traditional areas in Greater Accra. I therefore urge all traditional councils to utilize the structures of the national and regional houses of chiefs to resolve matters of chieftaincy with dignity, through dialogue, and with mutual respect.
Now, the Ghana Health Service has confirmed 2 mpox cases in the Accra metropolitan area. This brings the total number of confirmed cases between February and May to 3. Now, speaking earlier to GHOne TV, Director of the Ghana Infectious Disease Center and Case Management Lead for mpox, Dr. Oliver Komi, confirms that containment efforts are underway following the detection of 2 cases in Accra. He explained how the cases were identified and outlined steps being taken to manage and prevent further spread of the virus.
It's a contagious disease. It's by contact. So first, you need to be in contact with somebody who is infected. The lesions of the person who is infected, or sometimes the beddings, the clothing of the person who is infected. If there is nobody infected around you, definitely you will not get mpox. So even the sexual contacts of the people who are infected are the people we're really worried about. So we have what we call the high-risk contacts and then the low-risk contacts. High-risk contacts will be mainly your close family members, your sexual partners. The medium-risk contacts will be maybe the healthcare workers who will look after you in hospital or the healthcare system. Then we talk about the low contacts. A friend passing by should not get mpox from you. So you need to come into contact with an infected person. Once the contact disease, one of the key things you need to do, you need to put a barrier between you and that particular thing. So if you're in the hospital, the doctors and nurses have been asked to wear their personal protective equipment, meaning you wear your gloves when you have to examine such a person, you wear your face mask when you have to examine such a person, you will wash your hands with soap and water. These are the things that we need to do to prevent us from getting mpox.
Let's take it to the court now, as the High Court in Accra has acquitted and discharged 3 individuals who were standing trial alongside 4 others for alleged membership in the Western Togoland Restoration Front, a prohibited organization. The acquitted individuals are Samuel Kujowo, Richard Norboji, and Atiga Jiwonu alias Adonis. Justice Marie-Louise Simmons, the presiding judge who was ruling on a submission of no case, said the prosecution failed to present sufficient evidence linking the offense. In contrast, Felix Sosa and James Tamaklo have been ordered to present their defense. Following their acquittal, the 3 freed individuals shared moments from their journey with EIB Network's legal affairs correspondent, Mutala Inusa.
Always my prayers to God that the case have been followed by 5 years now, and I don't have anything against this thing. We have done no nothing, even called West Togoland, but it just shocked me. I'm meeting from a site. I'm a construction worker. So just attacked me, shocked me. Even right now, my leg is not working. Up to now, this leg is not working. Okay. Now, can't put him for jail. 3.5 years. Can't give him bail up to today. Before they are giving me, so they are leaving me that. They say they give me freedom. I'm so happy to have my freedom. But what I've gone through for 5 good years now. Even now, yeah, I'm standing now. I don't know where my family are now.
Oh, you don't know where your family is?
My wife left me, packed my everything in my house, and took it away.
Oh, wow.
So I can't find my wife, I can't find any one of my children. I have 3 children, 2 girls, 1 boy. I don't know where the place they are now. Okay. And today they are giving freedom, but I'm broke.
Oh, I'm so much happy because I've suffered for more than 5 years now. Coming to court here and there, and today they have been acquitted and discharged. I'm so much happy. But they said I was in platform. I was added to a platform and then we don't do anything in the platform. That is all my charges.
Please, I'm very, very sure.
How are you shocked?
Because this issue, it came to me. The police, they come with their coat. I mean, my little kiosk. Before they come, by forcefully arrested me for that. And they have beaten me roughly. They beat me anyhow they like it. But by grace of God, I'm very, very happy that today I am free. Okay.
In more news this evening, it was a heartfelt reunion of top security chiefs, former officers, friends and family as Ghana's former Inspector General of Police officially launched his memoir, An Aroma of Policing in Accra. In an emotional address, Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan reflected on a lifetime of service, the deep roots of his policing heritage and the lessons he hopes will shape the future of Ghana's law enforcement. The scent of memory, service and reform filled the air at the official launch of An Aroma of Policing, the new memoir by Ghana's former Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan. With pride and passion, the former top COP traced his policing journey from the humble beginnings of his father as an escort policeman through the barracks of his childhood to leading Ghana's police service at its highest level.
Looking back, I now realize that policing was not just a profession, but a calling. One written long before I accepted to become a policeman. Even in retirement, my heart had remained with the police service. I felt deep urge to document my journey, not only to preserve institutional memory, but to share hard-earned lessons.
The former IGP lamented the discontinuation of key reform programs, arguing that lasting progress in institutions like the police service requires continuity, not constant reinvention.
One of the issues I raised in the book is how the discontinuation of useful reform programs has harmed the service. Institutions do not grow through constant reinventions. They are built through continuity, reflection and purposeful reforms.
The memoir also urges academia and the media to engage more constructively with law enforcement, moving from one-sided or sensational narratives. But beyond the policy critiques, the day was also one of gratitude.
Mr. Al-Hassan's belief in me gave me the opportunity to lead Accra security efforts, and as history has it, the results spoke for themselves. His trust and guidance were pivotal in my career, and I believe it is that very opportunity given to serve that ultimately led me to the position I hold today as your current IGP.
It attracted high-powered attendance with the Awomefi of Anglo State as the chairman.
This book is more than a personal story. It is a legacy project. It is a resource for future generations of police officers, policy makers, and every Ghanaian interested in understanding the evolution, challenges, and promise of policing in our country.
As guests filed out with signed copies of An Aroma of Policing, the message was clear. This memoir is more than a personal story. It's a blueprint for reform, a call to honor, and a challenge to preserve the dignity of the badge. Up next is business. In business this evening, government-led cocoa plantations covering 200,000 hectares of acquired land mark the latest bold step to revive Ghana's struggling cocoa sector. The industry, which has seen production slashed by half, is also battling mounting debts. The newly inaugurated board of the Ghana Cocoa Board has now been tasked with leading a turnaround.
The new Cocoa Board, chaired by Dr. Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, includes prominent figures such as Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Esiama, and other notable personalities including Dr. Randy Abe, Alhaji Alhassan Kobina Jansa, Vincent Opong Asamoah, Deputy Trade Minister Samson Ahi, Deputy Agriculture Minister John Dumelo, Alhaji Alhassan Bukhari, Nana Charles Owusu, and Eric Texan. Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen, a returning board member, stressed cocoa's critical role in the national economy. He described past leadership failures as massive and outlined plans to restore the sector's performance. He announced the launch of government-run cocoa farms, starting with 200,000 hectares of secured land to enhance productivity and tackle inefficiencies in the value chain.
Cocoa production in Ghana is largely coming from peasant farmers, the small plantation, and also smallholder farms. I believe the time has come for us to introduce plantation farms. The Ministry of Finance is working with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and we intend to acquire up to 200,000 hectares of cocoa lands. We'll acquire it in the form of landmarks, and we'll work with Ghana Cocoa Board so that we can attract plantation farmers.
In his acceptance speech, Board Chairman Dr. Ofosu Ampofo thanked President John Dramani Mahama for the confidence reposed in him and pledged to spearhead reforms aimed at restoring Cocoa Board's legacy.
As I sit before you, I pledge on behalf of the board our total commitment to rehabilitating the cocoa sector, to restoring its dignity, profitability, and global competitiveness under the renewed leadership of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. It will not only safeguard the future of our farmers, but also serve as a strong incentive for young people to see cocoa farming as a viable and fulfilling profession. As a board, we will be developing and rolling out strategic initiatives to revamp cocoa production.
The government-led cocoa initiative is projected to help restore production levels to over 1 million metric tons, reinforcing Ghana's position as a global cocoa giant.
That will be it for business, but don't go away. Sports news is up next with GHOne Ichampon.
Hello there and welcome. This is the sports segment here on News Tonight with me, GHOne Ichampon. We start with our very first story that has to do with a 7-member committee of inquiry that was charged to investigate the tragic death of Nigerian boxer Gabriel Oluwasegun Olaruwoju have presented the report to the Minister for Sports and Recreation. The committee was tasked within 21 days to submit its report, which was not only to examine the immediate circumstances surrounding the tragedy, but also address broader regulatory and medical issues in Ghana's boxing sector and its international engagements.
For reform, urgent reforms, very urgent reforms. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Now to FIFA, and they held a solemn minute of silence during its 75th Congress in Ascencio, Paraguay on 15 May 2025 in honor of two respected figures in Ghana's football. The World Football Governing Body honored former Black Stars striker Wilberforce Infum and dedicated Asante Kotoko supporter Francis Yao Frimpong, also known as Nanapoli. Wilberforce Kojo Infum, who passed away on May 11, 2025 at the age of 88, was a key figure in Ghana's football history. All right, let's now move away from that and do something on women's football, because the chairperson of the Women's Football Association, Rosalind Amon, has expressed high hopes of a double-header finale of Women's FA Cup this Sunday at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium, and also the Women's FA Cup final. Jonina ladies will battle Faith ladies, while the Premier League showdown will see Northern Zone champions Ampem Dakwa take on Police ladies, who claim the Southern Zone title.
I think that is going to be a very interesting final. These are two new teams that just joined the Premier League about 3 seasons ago. Jonina just joined in 2023. Faith had joined earlier, the preceding year. And they have contrasting stories in this season's competition. You realize that Jonina was very up at the top there, competing for a slot. While unfortunately, Faith ladies, because of organizational problems, they have been relegated from the league. But that doesn't change anything. I mean, in Women's FA Cup, we always say that it is always a risk. It's dangerous to underestimate your opponents. I mean, back-to-back, Jonina have beaten Faith ladies this season. But I don't know what we say. But it is going to be an interesting thing. And thankfully, it is a double header. So when you come to watch the game at the first game at 3, you get to also watch the champions of the WPL being crowned. And for me, it only tells volumes of what or how well women's football is growing and progressing in Ghana.
All right.
If we can, we should all be there to support the game on Sunday.
All right, let's now move away from football and do something on athletics, because according to Ahmed Bafo, CEO of the Ghana Athletics Association, the idea behind the Accra Open Championship is rooted in the association's annual calendar. Speaking on the game, he emphasized that it is not a new initiative, but rather one of the regular programs organized by the Greater Accra Athletics Association.
The next one, we went to the Cape Coast. That was on the on the 5th of March.
Sure.
So we thought it wise to also bring it to the capital, Accra, just as to get people around to also participate. And the brain behind all this competition is that this is one of the many programs that GA organized within the year.
Okay.
So it's not something new. GA organizes the Open Championship throughout the entire year. So this is the time to come to the capital and give the athletes the opportunity, those who could not take part in both Kumasi and Cape Coast, to also have their fair share and also participate in this coming events, which will happen tomorrow at GHOne Sports Stadium.
All right, before we wrap up, let's bring you up to speed with the very final games, not too final though, but games coming up in the Ghana Premier League over the weekend. Accra Lions tomorrow are taking on Aduana FC. Asante Kotoko will also be taking on Dreams FC. That is on Sunday, whilst Brekum Chelsea will lock horns with Accra Hearts of Oak in an important duel. Baseke Holy Stars welcome Heart of Lions, whilst Karela United will square it off with Mediama, and Vision FC will be settling scores with Young Apostles, whilst FC Samatex League Defenders will be playing Bechem United. That is on Sunday. And on Monday, Legon Cities will be at the University of Ghana Stadium and they play host to Nations FC. All right, that's it for sports. Thanks. That's all we have got for sports. Over to you.
Well, up next is international news. In international news this evening, more than 3 years into Europe's deadliest war since 1945, there was a small step Forward for Democracy on Friday, delegations from Ukraine and Russia came face-to-face for talks for the first time since March 2022, 1 month after Moscow invaded its neighbor. The setting was an Ottoman-era palace on the shore of the Bosphorus in Istanbul. Pressure and encouragement from Turkey and the U.S. helped get the warring parties there. There were no handshakes, and half the Ukrainian delegation were camouflaged military fatigues, a reminder that their nation is under attack. The room was decked with Ukrainian, Turkish, and Russian flags, 2 of each, and a large flower arrangement, a world away from the shattered cities and swollen graveyards of Ukraine. Let's bring you one more local story. The Ewutu-Senya East Municipal Assembly has held a crucial dialogue aimed at tackling poor sanitation in the municipality. Stakeholders, including residents, zonal council members, and health officials, gathered to discuss the growing sanitation crisis and explore lasting solutions. Director of the Assembly, K. Ado, said the forum focused on improving waste management, strengthening enforcement, and encouraging active community involvement.
At the forum, the Member of Parliament for the constituency, Dr. Na Koyo, emphasized the need for a collective effort to tackle the growing sanitation challenges facing the municipality.
Zubaida has been very supportive, and Zubaida has facing a basic challenge due to some payments of money that have not been made over the years. Now, the duty lies upon us to make this work in their absence.
The Municipal Health Director, Stanley Kwekuyado, revealed that cases of diarrhea are on the rise, attributing the trend to poor sanitation practices. He urged residents to actively participate in efforts to improve hygiene in the area.
Of the Metropolitan Assembly have realized that sanitation is becoming a major issue, a challenge, and therefore it venture into privatization. The first thing they did was to privatize public funds.
On his part, the municipal chief executive, Seth Banini, described the sanitation dialogue as a significant step towards addressing these challenges.
Central we are making sure that we get Will the assembly enforce the sanitation bylaws to, prevent leaking of ensure compliance? The environmental health.
This is where we draw the curtain on tonight's edition of News Tonight. It was produced by Awisi Dede Jange and directed by Eugene Banini. I am El-Nurein Abass. For more news, log on to starfm.com.gh. Enjoy your weekend.